6 consecutive games, 7-1 on the year. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton. What a rugged month this has been for the Phoenix Cardinals. This is the 4th straight game in which they are playing a division leader. Obviously, they have to be affected by the controversy surrounding the Martin Luther King vote concerning the Super Bowl in Phoenix. And Merlin Olsen, I think a bigger distraction could be the conditions today with an incredible wind here at Orchard Park.
A howling wind, Dick, that's going to dominate this game, particularly when you're going into the wind. Kicking and throwing the ball will be an adventure here today. Both offensive coordinators have adjusted their game plan. Less passing, more running, perhaps short passes, but not a heck of a lot going long.
No problems for the Bills. They used to be called the bickering Bills. Everything is working for them. They're on a roll. What's behind their banner year?
Several things. Certainly one among them, the maturity of Jim Kelly, who has really had a great year, his best ever. And he's using his weapons so much better this year. You look at this team, you see a lot of stars, and they're playing outstanding football, making the big plays. We're going to keep our eyes on a couple of those stars. Bruce Smith for Buffalo will be matched up today with Lewis Sharp, another all-pro on the other side of the line of scrimmage. That's a matchup that we'll have our eyes on here today.
And Merlin, the weather is already played in effect. The wind chill is 29 and the wind gusting between 21 and 26 miles per hour. The Phoenix Cardinals have won the toss, but they have elected to defend the goal to the left. So wind is playing a factor, and they will kick off to the Bills.
Well, they told me just before the game, Dick, that they had selected to take the wind rather than the ball. And I've been down on that field and had a chance to feel that wind. I'll tell you, it is a major factor. Strips the body heat right away from you. But throwing and kicking into that wind is going to be extremely hard today.
Al Del Greco will kick off for the Cardinals. Don Smith and Don Beebe are back for the Bills. Bills are 4-0 this year at Rich Stadium and have had great success here in the last 3 years, as Merlin mentioned on the NFL Today. Smith third in the NFL in kickoff returns. But the one Achilles heel for the Bills has been their problems against NFC teams. They have struggled against NFC clubs, even ones that are under 500.
Well, they certainly have over the last couple of years, but this is not the same Bill team that we have seen in the past. They are really, as you said, on a roll. It will be interesting to see what Buffalo decides to do going into this breeze. They have an excellent running game, and the weakness, if there is, in the matchup on the field is in the front 7 for the Cardinals. They do not match up as well as the other 3 units on the field. They played inspired football against the New York Giants just a few weeks ago and came within 3 seconds of winning that game, but they're going to have to play that kind of inspired football here today to control this Bills offense.
They're going to hold on the kickoff. The wind is at Del Greco's back. That's Marcus Turner, who is holding for Del Greco.
If he doesn't get this one in the end zone, you'll never see him get it there. And he won't.
It's a short kick and taken by Don Smith inside the 15-yard line. Smith still on his feet. And a fine return. He's one of the best in the game. So is Jim Kelly. Second in completions in the NFL and the 3rd rated passer behind Phil Simms and Joe Montana. The offensive front, Will Wolford, Jim Richard, Kent Hull, John Davis, and Howard Ballard. He's a big one. Keith McKellar is the tight end. The Bills' backfield features outstanding running back Thurman Thomas and Jamie Mueller. Andre Reed, he's great as a wide receiver, along with James Lofton. First out on the 36 and a running play. No surprise on first down as Thomas brings it up close to the 40-yard line. Anthony Bell and Eric Hill, a pair of linebackers, in on the stop. Cardinals, who went to the 3-4 defense 4 games ago, Freddie Joe Nunn, Jim Waller, and Rod Sadler, are the 3 men on the defensive line. Anthony Bell, Eric Hill, Garth Jacks, and Ken Harvey. Outstanding pass rusher. Cedric Mack and Jay Taylor are the cornerbacks, and Lonnie Young and Tim McDonald the safeties. Second down and 6 at the 40-yard line. Out of the I formation, Thurman Thomas is stopped by Jim Waller, short of the first down by about 5 or 6.
The Bills in this situation interested in doing one thing. They like to control the football and eat as much of the clock as they can. Obviously, the Cardinals, feeling that they would have a big advantage with the wind at their backs, are hoping to be able to get some points on the board. If the Bills can eat up the clock in this situation with the running game, they can thwart that thought for the Cardinals.
It'll be 3rd down and 4. And the Bills bring an extra receiver in Don Beebe and Don Smith out of the backfield where he's a good receiver.
Kelly has a strong arm, but this wind will even eat up a ball from a strong arm quarterback.
And the inside handoff to Don Smith. Smith looks like he's got the first down. He needed to get to the 47. Eric Hill brings him down, and the Bills maintain possession.
Certainly one of the added tools and weapons that Jim Kelly has to work with, the addition of Smith to this backfield in those 3rd down situations. Watch the run from the shotgun formation. Just a quick fake here. Kelly hands it off inside, and Smith, with lots of room, picks up the first down.
Buffalo comes in with a double tight end, Metzelars and McKellar, and the give is to Thurman Thomas. He gets into Cardinal territory, but just barely. And we have you would think tempers wouldn't flare this early, but John Davis, who has had an outstanding year at right guard. Davis has been a surprise at that position, replacing Joe Devlin. Several big changes made by the Bills during the offseason.
Well, they had Leonard Burton in that spot earlier, but he got hurt. And Davis, who had been a question mark, a Plan B acquisition last year, has stepped in and surprised everyone, as you said. He's going to be hard to get out of it now.
2nd down and 8. Thomas again. He'll get nothing on that play, and Garth Jack's the first man to meet him.
Cardinal defense, not a great front line in a sense of strength, and we mentioned that is the mismatch here. They need to move around. They're outweighed by quite a bit on that front wall, and basically what they're trying to do in the 3-4 is shoot the gaps. They're trying to angle, they're trying to move, they're trying to hit the offense for a loss, as they did on that last play.
3rd down and 7. Out of the shotgun, Don Smith. In again and running back. 3 wide receivers, and Kelly loses the ball. And it looks like a Cardinal is going to pick it up. And it is. It's Cedric Mack, and he's going to go in and finally get stopped inside the 5-yard line. Cedric Mack picked up the fumble.
It is very difficult on a day like today to hang on to that football. And Kelly, who is not a fumbler, just gets blasted from the left-hand side of your screen. Watch the movement here. They're coming with the all-out blitz, and it's right there. The cornerback blitz blew the ball loose. Cardinal had a chance at it right there, but Cedric Mack not only gets the blitz pop, but picks it up.
So Cedric Mack will get credit for the sack on this blitz.
Look at the ball loose right at the beginning and rolling out of Kelly's hands.
Cardinals with a 1st and goal at the 7-yard line of the Bills. Johnny Johnson, the running back, and Tim Rosenbaugh having trouble getting the signals to his teammates. Johnson. And the crowd is definitely a factor right here, Merlin.
A little counter step by Johnny Johnson, and he slipped on this turf. The turf is wet, and Johnson unable to get his footing.
The Cardinals have struggled. They have the worst offense in the NFL inside the 20. But they're starting at the 7-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal now at the 6. Again, fights his way close to the goal line, and no sign. He is stopped short of the goal line, and it was Shane Conlon who came in to meet him. Merlin, the crowd, Joe Bugle told us last night he thought would be a factor because of the noise.
There is no question they are a very enthusiastic crowd. The noise factor here extremely high, but the Cardinals not intimidated in this situation. They're down inside the 1-yard line.
Louis Sharp has come in as an eligible receiver for the Cardinals, and Tim Rosenbaugh is not going to take any chances right now. There is Sharp, who has caught a touchdown pass already this year against the Giants. And so Phoenix has used a timeout here. They want to make the most of this opportunity. It'll be 3rd and goal at the 1-yard line. So a surprising start here at Orchard Park. The Cardinals used a timeout. They have a very critical 3rd down and goal at the 1 coming up. Ron Wolfley, who is from this area near Buffalo, has joined Johnny Johnson in the backfield. We've already told you Louis Sharp, an eligible receiver on the left side.
Big opportunity to go up in this ball game. They want the TD here.
And the give is to Johnny Johnson, and he slices in for the touchdown. So the fine rookie out of San Jose State has given the Cardinals an early lead here with his 4th touchdown of the season. And it is 6-0, taking advantage of a fumble by Jim Kelly.
Watch the surge from the Cardinal line on the right-hand side of the line as they go right at him with this play. Behind Walter Reeves, the big tight end. Tony Robbins, number 63, that huge tackle on that side.
Johnson with the score. And now Al Del Greco with Tom Tupa holding. He's been perfect in conversions this year.
No football.
No snap. And a lot of people in motion.
We had everyone moving but the center.
Bob McElwee is our referee, his crew here today. Joe Bugle came prepared for the elements for sure.
He was out here in a shirt a little while ago. He's put on the parka at this point in the game.
Encroachment, middle of the line defense will assess that foul on a kickoff.
5-yard penalty against the Bills.
There were a lot of people moving, but what the official is saying there is there was contact before the offensive players moved. So it will be assessed against the defense.
Johnny Johnson did his job, got the big tough yard to give the Cardinals the lead. Now Al Del Greco for the extra point, and the kick is good. So the lowest scoring team in the NFL, the Phoenix Cardinals, have jumped out ahead of the highest scoring team, the Buffalo Bills, early here in a shocking beginning. It's Phoenix 7 and Buffalo nothing. Phoenix leading Buffalo 7-0. And that's the first turnover in 3 weeks by the Buffalo Bills.
They have not been a fumbling team, and it's been quite a while since they coughed the ball up, but they certainly did here. And the decision by the Cardinals to take the wind rather than the football pays a big dividend early. But, Dick, I don't think 7 points is going to win this football game. There's a lot of football left. The Buffalo Bills right now saying, hey, forget about that. And they are a confident team. They'll put that behind them.
Del Greco to kick off. Marcus Turner holding, and it's going to Smith. He bobbled it and gets another fine return. Really gets ahead of steam and brings it out close to the 30-yard line. Garth Jacks making the stop for the Phoenix Cardinals. 23-yard return by Smith, and that's what he has averaged this season.
One of the fringe benefits of getting a quick score if you're a visiting team is you quiet down the crowd. There's a sense in this stadium of quiet anticipation.
First down for the Bills on the 28-yard line. In motion comes Andre Reed, and Thurman Thomas on first down goes up the middle. And Thomas being chased from behind and brought down by Lonnie Young. A 44-yard run up the middle by Thurman Thomas.
There's some great blocking up front as this hole opens up. Center inside, that's Davis 65, Hall 67 doing a great job, and Thomas with exploding acceleration blasting away. Lonnie Young showing you excellent speed, gets a hand on his back and finally strips him to the ground. But Thurman Thomas eating him up on that play.
First down on the Cardinal 28, and Thomas going outside this time is ridden out of bounds and hit hard. And a gain of a couple. Lonnie Young in on the stop. So Thurman Thomas, who is second in the NFL in total yards from scrimmage behind Neil Anderson of the Bears, has already gained 56 yards in this game.
Big block by number 41, Jamie Mueller. known also as one of the toughest of the people on the field. Boy, he just puts Harvey right on his back on that last play, and that's no easy task.
Mueller is now the lone setback to block for Kelly, and the pass is caught and maybe intercepted by the Cardinals. McKellars had the ball, and it is Phoenix possession. Anthony Bell will get credit for the interception.
Now, they're going to say he was down, but he is not touched by anyone. As he goes to the ground, the ball pops loose. Now, if he had been touched and gone to the ground that way, the ball would have been dead here. Let's watch this play. Metzlars takes the pass. Now, question, does he have possession? He controls it. He hits the ground. I think they may look at this one. I don't know that he had full possession, but he needs 1 foot or a body to the ground. Let's see what we've got here. Is he controlling the football? Yes, he is. And once he hits the ground, he has possession, and that's a fumble. Yeah, they're going to look at it anyway. They're going to look at it anyway.
Well, if the ball did not hit the ground, it's a turnover in any event, whether he had possession or not.
Well, it could be an incomplete pass. They have confirmed the fumble, and the ball will belong to the Cardinals. I think the only other choice would be, was it indeed
After further review, the play stands.
Play
First
stands.
down.
It is a fumble, not an interception, because it was possession by tight end Keith McKellars. So 2 quick turnovers by the Bills, and the Cardinals take over again on their 17. Johnny Johnson ganged up, crossing the 20 in a pickup of about 3 yards. Cornelius Bennett making the stop. Let's bring you up to date on the Cardinals offense right now as they lead it 7-0. Louis Sharp, Derek Kennard, Bill Lewis, Lance Smith, and Tootie Robbins, the offensive lineman. Walter Reeves, the huge tight end. Johnny Johnson is the lone back. Tim Jordan, the H-back. Roy Green and Ernie Jones, who's in for J.T. Smith, out again with an ankle injury. They're the wide receivers. 2nd down and 6. On the draw play, Johnson off the left tackle, and he'll have a 1st down. To the 29-yard line, Shane Conlon is there. Buffalo's defense, and they've got some superstars there, including Bruce Smith, who's teamed with Leon Seals and Jeff Wright up front. The linebackers, Cornelius Bennett, Shane Conlon, Carlton Bailey, and Darryl Talley. In the secondary, Kirby Jackson, who's nursing a hamstring pull, and Nate Odoms are the corners. John Hagee, the free safety, and former Cardinal Leonard Smith is the strong safety. 1st down for the Cardinals on the 29. There's Leonard Smith, and Johnson will lose a yard. A crunching hit by Bruce Smith and company.
We talked earlier about the Buffalo Bills stars making the big plays. Watch number 78. He's going to shoot inside, gets out of Louis' block right there, Louis Sharp's block, and just nails Johnson in the backfield.
Leading the team with 8 quarterback sacks, having as good a year as any defensive player in the National Football League.
Ball just blowing along the ground. The wind's so strong here, it won't even sit.
2nd and 10. Ricky Prohl has come in as a wide receiver. He's in the slot to the top of your screen.
An audible.
Johnny Johnson going outside, and nothing there. And Shane Conlon read it perfectly.
The Cardinals have done their best running off tackle, with Johnson bouncing outside. But against this Bills defense, that is very difficult. Their linebackers are extremely quick and get to the outside very rapidly, as did Conlon on that play.
3rd down and 13, and the dime defense in for the Bills. David Poole and Dwight Drain, extra defensive backs.
This is where the wind at your back helps. You can throw the football pretty easily in this situation.
And Bruce Smith had jumped. Let's see if we'll have encroachment. A penalty marker is down, or whether he was drawn off.
Smith doing the wise thing, taking the quarterback down. There will be no free play for Rosenbach.
It'll be against the Bills.
Bruce Smith.
Offside. Defense. Right end. 5 yards. Third down.
Top of your screen, number 78. So eager. He gets a little movement from the back inside, Jackson, and then right there, without movement, he's off. Can't get there quite that quick. Some offensive tackles around the league who say he's always offsides, but that's not true, Dick. I know that.
It's an optical illusion.
That's right.
Third down and 8. J.D. Williams, the rookie, is one of the defensive backs in for the Bills. Kroll has some time, but it collapses, and Jeff Wright, the nose man, has a sack for the Buffalo Bills and a loss of 8 yards.
The pressure comes from Smith on the outside. He forces the quarterback to step up, and he steps right into the waiting arms of number 91, Jeff Wright, who's there. You saw Denard, the guard, looking for Smith. That's where the double teaming was. They couldn't double team right inside.
Rich Camarillo will have the wind at his back, naturally.
They'll try and block it. Watch the block coming here.
Al Edwards is back for Buffalo. They blocked 19 kicks in the last 4 years here. And they get this one off, but the wind just knocked it down.
It's going to get a great roll.
And Edwards lets it roll, and shadowing it all the way for the Cardinals is Turner, and it goes out of bounds. That was a 51-yard kick. 4:50 remaining in the first quarter. Cardinals in front.
After millions and millions of hours in the air, after 17 years of staying up all night, every night, so that your packages can be delivered overnight to any address in America, Federal Express has become the first service company ever to win the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. It's the highest honor in American business. And just how did we do this? By being absolutely, positively the best in the business. Quote.
Celica, one of the most eye-catching cars of the year. Auto Magazine. The performance is stunning. Sports Car International.
Unquote. The 1991 Toyota Celica. Enough said.
When I was growing up, I learned a lot by watching my dad. Dad was a State Farm agent for 25 years, and I've become a State Farm agent too. Being there for others is a tremendous responsibility. I take a lot of pride in doing the proper job for other people, like every State Farm agent. People tell me I'm just like my dad. That's just fine with me.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
60 Minutes tonight. If war breaks out in the Middle East, this baby can handle anything they throw at us, only it doesn't work. $12 billion, and it doesn't work.
Bruce DeHaven's special teams for Buffalo try to confuse the Cardinals punting team here. Watch the players shift to their right and confuse the blocking assignments. They overload strongly to one side of the field, but the Cardinals able to get it away.
Bills on offense for the second time. First down on the 25. Thurman Thomas on the delay. Gets good yardage as he brings it out close to the 30-yard line. Now for an NFL Today report, let's check in with Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
Thank you, Dick. In New Orleans, Chris Chandler starting for Vinny Testaverde for Tampa Bay, pulls it down, comes around the left side, and runs it in from 12 yards out, taking the final couple of yards the tough way, but the point after has the Bucs up 7-0. Dick?
Thank you very much, Greg. So Chandler in at quarterback has that extra dimension. Second down and 6 at the 29-yard line. Lofton and Don Beebe are the wide receivers. Beebe goes in motion, and Thurman Thomas is ganged up on in the 30 in the pickup of maybe a yard. Jim Waller there. And not to make it worse for the Bills, Andre Reed, their brilliant wide receiver, has been taken to the locker room with an ankle injury. No further report on Reed, who has had nothing short of a brilliant year thus far.
Certainly bad news for the Bills. Don Beebe is a player who's coming into his own, actually has better speed than Andre Reed, but does not have the moves, does not have the patterns, does not run as precisely. And you need that on a day like today.
3rd down and 4. Don Smith in the backfield, Al Edwards, and it's Smith carries. He's got the first down. Edwards, a rookie, in at wide receiver, and Smith again running on an inside handoff. Tim McDonald making the tackle.
Cold weather football, ball security, hanging on to that football. The difference in this game right now in the rushing game and in hanging on to the football. Buffalo's been able to move the ball. They certainly have had no trouble doing that, but they have unfortunately coughed it up twice. One of those resulting in a Cardinal touchdown.
How do you figure a team like the Bills, used to this kind of weather with 2 turnovers, and the Cardinals look like they've been playing in this all their lives?
When your hands are cold, it's going to happen.
And the give on first down is to Thurman Thomas. Ken Harvey making the tackle, a gain of a couple. 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen here at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park. Close to 80,000 fans. This game was not a sellout in time for the blackout to be lifted, but fans have stormed the ticket offices yesterday, and we have close to 80,000 right now. 2nd down and 9. The ball is at the Bills' 37. Keeping it on the ground to Thomas, this time off the right side. Moves it up to the 40, a pickup of 3 yards. Anthony Bell, the stop.
A gain of 3, it'll be 3rd and 6.
Joe Bugle, always so positive in his approach to his team. One of the things he told us yesterday that was interesting to me, even in their losses, they go through and clip out the positive plays, the big plays, and they show that to the team. He said it's amazing. As badly as we played last week against Miami, there were still big and positive plays in that game, although he was disappointed in his team's performance last week.
Jamie Mueller, the one back now on 3rd down and 6. And the quick pass is complete. McCullers, the tight end, and he carries a few defenders into Cardinal territory, and a first down and a gain of 22 yards. Lonnie Young finally brought down McCullers.
The Cardinals bringing their safeties up close to help with the running game, and that puts them at risk against the tight end. McCullers, one of the fastest tight ends in the NFL, with great hands, does a great job on that play. And Kelly knows how to use his tools well.
First down on the Cardinal 38 with a half a minute remaining in the first quarter. Thurman Thomas tries to move the pile and gets to the 35-yard line. That may be the last play of this first quarter, which surprisingly has featured 2 turnovers by the Bills, and the Cardinals capitalizing on one of them, with Johnny Johnson going over for a touchdown.
At this rate, it's going to be one short football game.
And the time runs out, and that is the end of the first quarter. Here at Rich Stadium with the score, the Phoenix Cardinals 7 and the Buffalo Bills nothing.
Doing more because I feel something in my scalp. The Head and Shoulders side, I feel nothing at all.
Both have a dandruff ingredient, but Denerex adds an extra anti-itch medicine you can feel working.
There definitely was a difference with Denerex.
If your feathers have been ruffled by downdrafts in the market, get on board something big, safe, and secure. Get Met. It pays.
Don't worry, Mom. You'll get there in time. You're driving the Toyota Camry All-Track. It's got all-wheel drive to pull you through. It's got an anti-lock brake system for additional stopping control. The Toyota Camry. You've got the perfect car, and the most trouble-free in its class, 3 years in a row. So don't worry. Be happy you've got a Camry.
I'm happy with what you do for me, Toyota.
And a big crowd and wintry weather settling into upstate New York. We're at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen. And the wind definitely a factor as we start the second quarter with the Cardinals leading the Bills 7-0.
Well, if you ask the Buffalo Bills what's the best news at this point, it's that they have the wind at their backs now. You get a feeling for how strong that wind is. That's just a piece of plastic bag that's blown into the sky and is hovering like a kite.
As long as they don't tell us to go fly one. Second down and 7 on the 35. And Thurman Thomas trying to go outside, slowed up, and then down.
Garth Jacks quickly inside to get a piece of Thomas and slow him down and allow the Cardinal defense to catch up.
Tackle was by Ken Harvey.
That'll bring up third down. Buffalo Bills coming into this game with a 7-1 record. Their only loss was to the Miami Dolphins on the road. They had 3 games in succession with dramatic fourth quarter comebacks that kind of keyed the Bills' effort. And the last 2 games, they've jumped out in front and have rolled to victories.
Combined scores in those last 2 games, 69-10.
Wow. Third down and 9. And the pass to Don Smith. He's got blockers in front of him. He's got the first down. And nailed hard out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. But a pickup of 15 for the Bills. And they're driving, trying to tie this game up. Jay Taylor on the hit.
Jay Taylor is going to nail Don Smith at the end of this run. But this is a good play. A couple of blockers out in front. Richer is one, 67 Hall the other one. Taylor, who actually came to the Cardinals as a result of the trade that brought Leonard Smith to the Bills. He was a 6th-round pick with the 6th-round choice that went to the Cardinals in that trade.
10th play of the drive coming up for Buffalo. They're on the Cardinal 22. Kelly was going to Thurman Thomas. The Bills on passing downs will have Mueller as the lone setback and swing out Thurman Thomas as a wide receiver.
That's the kind of play where the wind can be devilish here because it's a swirling wind. That's a long pass. When they take Thurman Thomas out of the backfield that way, they can use him almost like a wide receiver. He's got great hands, runs great patterns, but on a day like today, even with the wind at your back, that kind of pass can be very difficult to complete.
Second down and 10, an impressive drive for the Bills, who trail 7-0.
Bills have been able to drive all day. What they need is points on the board.
Kelly over the top. Metzelaars, the tight end, makes a tough grab, but he's pretty tall at about 6'7", and he grabs it inside the 20. Gain of about 3. That's all. Lonnie Young brought him down.
That ball may have been thrown for Thurman Thomas, who was streaking downfield. Metzelaars with that long reach went up and brought it down, but it may have been going to Thurman Thomas. Let's see if we can see it. Thomas at the top of your screen, 34, circling to the inside, and Metzelaars right there. I believe that ball was on its way to Thomas. Had it gone to him, it would have been a touchdown.
Well, you can't have a 6'7" guy in front of your number 1 receiver on a play.
He thought it was his.
Total offense. No contest there, but the scoreboard has something else in mind. Third down and 6. And the pass wide open. McKellar, touchdown, Buffalo. And the Bills made it look easy. An 18-yard touchdown strike. Kelly to McKellar, and it's 7-6 now.
Left side of your screen, number 84, McKellar just going to take his man outside and then just easily leave him there. Lonnie Young unable to control. Watch Kelly responding to the blitz and the pressure, has his man all the way, gets it off at the last second. Kelly will stand in there as long as any quarterback in the league.
And Scott Norwood, who kicked 6 extra points against the Browns a week ago. This kick is perfect. And the score is tied. An impressive drive by the Buffalo Bills. And they used just about all their weapons to tie this game.
A doubleheader. First, the resurgent Longhorns battle TCU. Yeehaw! Then a clash of SEC powers. Tennessee collides with
Saturday.
I'm J.T. Smith of the Phoenix Cardinals, and this is my wife, Cynthia, and our son, John. Out there is the beautiful city of Phoenix, but here, as in many American cities, there is a problem, the silent problem of illiteracy. This is Marcella. She is one of millions of Americans who could not read or write English. Each day, cut off from the world, frightened and alone, she walked miles to her job as a housekeeper because she could not read the bus schedule. As a single parent, she provided for 3 children, sent them to school where they could learn the language she could not understand.
This is a cat. Everybody, this is a cat.
But the cycle of despair was broken by the people who gave to the United Way. Their dollars funded the work of the Council of La Raza, and Marcela found her way to the Friendly House program.
United Way is brings all the best, and all of us thank you.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Federal Express for documents, packages, and freight worldwide. Absolutely, positively the best in the business. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
Always beautiful Niagara Falls, not far from here. And the Bill fans, quiet early, now have something to cheer about on a tremendous drive over 7 minutes in length, tying the score at 7-7. David Poole will be holding for Scott Norwood as he now will kick off. The wind at his back deep for the Cardinals. Vi Sikahema and rookie Larry Centers. Kicks are not carrying, though, and signaled by Sikahema at the 10-yard line. Runs it back to about the 29-yard line. Gary Baldinger making the stop.
Coming into today, the Buffalo Bills 4th in the league in the turnover ratio. You notice that they're a +9, or we're a +11. They are a +9 now. Or, excuse me, they're +7 now because they have been nailed. They've given it up twice today. The Cardinals so far not guilty of a turnover. You see where they are on the scale. They're at a -3.
And they start from the 29. First down for Tim Rosenbaugh. Now operating out of the I formation. On the draw play, Johnny Johnson. And the Bills are equal to the task, led by the nose tackle, Jeff Wright. They move the H-back, Tim Jordan, in as a blocker there.
An extremely lopsided stat, but not nearly as important as what's on the board, and the score is tied right now. But what that illustrates is the fact that even though Buffalo did not have the wind at their backs in the first quarter, still able to control the football.
Second down and 9. Now they move Reeves, the tight end, over to the left side. Johnson has some room. And the Bills, who are very tough against any outside run, pursuing well, stopped Johnson. John Hagee came in from his free safety spot.
Bruce Smith, extremely quick, draws a lot of attention from the enemy. Watch Sharp right here. Goes inside, sets Smith up, and Lance Smith, the guard, comes out. He does not get Bruce Smith, but Bruce can't get Johnny Johnson either. He does slow him down enough to allow the pursuit to arrive. John Hagee, the man who made the tackle.
J.D. Williams and Dwight Drain are the extra backs in the dime. Third down and 7 for the Cardinals. Rosenbaugh getting pressure from Cornelius Bennett. And he's down. Smith will get the sack. But Bennett came in from the right side and very nearly got Rosenbaugh. And a loss of 6 yards on the play. Penalty marker is down, and we'll wait. And it'll be against the Cardinals. And it'll be declined.
Bruce coming from the other side of the field. You'll see him at nose tackle, over the guard, at left end and right end. and just enough of a piece right there of Rosenbaugh to take him down. And he is down from contact, so that sack belongs to Bruce Smith.
A sandwich job. There's Walt Corey, the defensive coordinator for the Bills. Job well done by Smith and Bennett. Rich Camarillo will kick. Al Edwards.
These kicks will not travel far into this breeze. Oh,
he bobbles it. Loose ball. Camarillo, and the Cardinals are looking for possession. That's all they want, but it's going to be Buffalo's ball. And a big break for the Bills. Steve Tasker, I believe, on the recovery.
And there was not a rush on the play. They were going to let him kick it, but they've always got someone coming after that punter to make sure if he bobbles the football that they get after it. Watch the ball blown out of line as it comes in here, and Camarillo with those cold hands just couldn't handle it. There's Tasker right there. The man on the spot knocks the ball loose.
There is the pressure. This is a team that works hard at trying to block kicks.
They're not coming after this one. They have the return on, but as always, one man there, and that man happens to be one of the best kick blockers and one of the best special teamers in the NFL.
You know, you wonder about the intimidation factor anyway. They were setting up a return when you're a punter looking at the films of all the kicks they blocked. And the Bills have made turnovers pay off. Number 1 in the NFL. First and goal on the 6. Kelly gives to Thurman Thomas. Thomas driving toward the goal line and gets to about the 1.
We saw Garth Jacks make an excellent penetrating tackle earlier in this game. It looked like he was going to have another opportunity at that, but he did not. Thurman Thomas, so quick, just exploded, leaped over the top of him, took it down to the 1-yard line.
Thomas has already gained 72 yards. And we have 10 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the half. Second and goal at the 1. Carwell Gardner, a rookie, at 230 pounds, is in. Jamie Mueller gets the call, and Mueller doesn't get over the line. It'll be third and goal.
It's their jumbo set, as they call it. A couple of extra linemen in. Carwell and Mueller, the big backs. There are a couple of bull elephants in that backfield.
Carwell, a second-round draft pick out of Louisville, has a lot of raw talent and good speed for a 230-pounder. Bills are perfect. The last 12 trips inside the 20. Third and goal. Play action. Touchdown. Butch Roll, the third-string tight end. Third touchdown catch of the year for Butch Roll. 3 catches, 3 touchdown receptions.
And what a great job of selling the play action. Watch how the fake here brings everyone inside, and Roll all alone out there. And Anthony Bell, number 55, just shaking his head. That's his man that got away from him.
Scott Norwood adds the extra point. So the Bills take advantage of a turnover by the Cardinals. And with 9:25 remaining in the first half, 14-7 Buffalo.
A new, more powerful V8, standard in these Cadillacs, generates a responsive 200 horsepower. Yet combined with a new electronically controlled transmission, it also provides the highest highway mileage of any V8-powered luxury car, making it just as responsible to own as it is responsive to drive. Another reason why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. Cadillac style.
For all of life's celebrations, in all of love's languages, or only a diamond says forever.
This shows where we were throughout the whole thing. You know, looking at that now, I realize how close it was. And this is what's left of our garage. We didn't have much left in there at all. And this is what's left of our camping trailer that ended up in our neighbor's tree. They were here right away to help us out, and that's all true.
Look around.
It's only been a few days, and they're already here rebuilding our house.
Allstate still, even though it's been 3.5 weeks later, they're still calling to find out how we're doing.
And the last 8 catches by Butch Roll have all resulted in touchdowns, including 3 this season. He's their TD man, Merlin.
That's making the most of your opportunities. We started this day by saying that kicking and throwing the ball were going to be adventures today, especially when you're going upwind. But downwind, it's been a little bit easier. Of course, that pass and that drive took advantage of the wind. Ted Marcia-Broda congratulating Kelly on the sideline and saying, hey, that's what we want to do.
Short kick by Norwood, bobbled, and the Cardinals hold on to it. Larry Centers, a rookie, had muffed it, and Mike Zordich and Butch Roll going at it a bit for the moment. You know, you would think that these teams have been long-time rivals the way they're going at each other's throats right now.
They haven't seen each other since 1986. This is not, they don't match up very often, but right now, this victory very important to the Cardinals, who, as Joe Bugle said yesterday, are desperate for a win.
Especially after all that happened in Phoenix and in Arizona this week.
Because after working out, you don't want to fill up. So reach for the Silver Bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
Talking about Coors Light, it's the right beer now. Pour it on and work it out.
On Wall Street, fortunes are won and lost and won again before 10:30. Amid the halls of ivy, the best ideas often come and go before 10:30. And on the back lots of Hollywood, love often blooms and fades before 10:30. Which is why Federal Express delivers before 10:30 at more places around the country than anyone else. Federal Express, absolutely, positively the best in the business.
Nobody is putting quality on the road like Cadillac, winner of the 1990 Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. In fact, Cadillac is the first and only car company to earn this coveted award from the United States Department of Commerce for its world-class achievements in satisfying the customer. So in a very real way, Cadillac's success is also a victory for the American consumer. Another reason why the only way to travel is Cadillac style.
Cadillac style.
Well, we told you the updated story on the vote with the Martin Luther King Super Bowl situation, but really it's a tough blow to the Cardinals, who are trying to make it all happen in Phoenix for several years now.
Dick, I think the Cardinals got off to a bad start in Phoenix, and they tried to mend the things with the community out there, lowered some ticket prices, really got active in the community, a new coach, a lot of new players. Things were beginning to fit together. But this situation with Martin Luther King, with the Super Bowl, is liable to put all of that in a very precarious situation. And I think a real tragic blow for a team that has worked very hard over the past few months to try and do a good job for its community and its state.
Rosenbaum, first down, completes a pass underneath to about the 26-yard line. Gain of just a couple. That was to Tim Jordan.
I had a chance to talk to Bill Bidwell just a few moments before the game started, and his concern is, he said, this is not just a matter of the Phoenix Cardinals and the NFL. It's a matter that affects the whole state of Arizona. Certainly affects the Fiesta Bowl, as you saw in our pregame piece. Baseball and basketball. Martin Luther King is an American hero, Dick, and that's a matter that's going to have to be dealt with.
Second down and 6. Reeves goes strong side to the right on the 27. And we may have another encroachment penalty against the Bills. If so, it would be the third time in this first half.
Defense, 5 yards. Second down.
That was Leon Seals, who's played very well at defensive end this year.
Seals replacing Art Stills, who filled that post last year, at least on the running games. He alternated in there last year. Fred Smirlis also gone from this front. They had to replace some big folks up front, but so far Seals has done a good job of replacing Sills, and Jeff Wright on the nose has taken some heat, but he's done a good job in this game today.
Big penalty, because now it is second down and 1 on the 32-yard line for the Cards. Johnny Johnson looking for the first down, lost his footing and may not have it.
Talking to the Bills players yesterday as they practice, and I asked about this turf, and they said the nap on this carpet runs away from us, and that he was running with the nap on this carpet. And they said when it's wet, it is very slick going in that direction. You saw his feet shoot out from underneath him on that last play.
As you pointed out, this is a team that practices in 80-degree weather or hotter. Of course, Tim Rosenbaugh used to rain and wind at Washington State, where he played his college ball. They're going to adjust the clock right now to 25 seconds, and now it's all straightened out. Third down and 1 for Phoenix. Johnson dives forward. It'll be close. Johnson has carried all 11 Phoenix plays. Other than the 2 sacks, it's been a one-man gang thus far for Phoenix and for Johnson.
He's been their main man all year long, Dick. A rookie, a 7th-round pick, and I think perhaps a leading candidate for NFL Rookie of the Year. I said it early in the season as we got a chance to watch him in the opener against Washington, later against New Orleans. We've seen a lot of them. He does not play like a rookie.
They've got the first down, I believe, by inches. In fact, talking to the Bills yesterday, Darryl Talley, he said, kind of reminds us of Eric Dickerson, and we've heard that before.
I think the thing that is really impressive about him is that even though he doesn't look like he's going very fast, he's got a great long strider. One of the officials just lost his hat, and he gave up on it. It was blowing down into the end zone. It blowing hard enough he couldn't catch it. He came back to the sideline. There it goes right there. You don't think the wind is blowing here? Adios hat.
Well, the Cap got a touchdown. First down, Cardinals on the 33. And a fake draw play. And the pass to Roy Green. He's got it into Buffalo territory. He was wide open. Nate Odoms makes the stop and a gain of 21 to sometimes a forgotten man, Roy Green.
Roy Green in the matchup will go inside on this play against Odoms, and he is such a smart receiver. Gets his feet underneath him. Odoms turns him loose at that point, and there's nobody home inside. Hagee, who's a free safety, playing extremely deep, not there to pick up Roy Green. I talked to Roy Green last night. He said he had dinner with Leonard Smith, a good buddy. Went out to dinner last night with him.
Who picked up the check?
I didn't ask that.
On first down, Johnson protecting the ball. And there's the kind of moves that have made Johnson the best rookie rusher so far. He gets inside the 40-yard line on first down. Carlton Bailey and Shane Conlon on the stop, but a good game.
If you're going to run to your left, you must control Bruce Smith. The Cardinals do it here. Walter Reeves getting the first shot on him, and then Lewis Sharp just cleaning up on the block. Darryl Talley there, but just late along with Carlton. And they get a good run out of Johnny Johnson to the outside. Impressive to be able to pick up that yardage. And again, they're going into the wind with this drive and doing a good job of driving the ball.
Second down and 3, Johnson. Close to first down yardage again. And it was Bruce Smith defending the run that time.
Now there's a stat that'll pop your eyes open, but Johnny Johnson, 86% of the Cardinals' rushing offense. If you take away Rosenbaugh's scrambling yardage made by Johnny Johnson during this season, that is a most impressive statistic.
Held to only 27 yards against the Miami Dolphins last week. His lowest output of the year. Second down and third down in inches. We're going to measure right now to see whether the Cardinals have the first down. And they've got it again, just by a foot that time. So the Cardinals with a first down. We want to remind you, big one coming up. Giants with an 8-game winning streak on the line against the team they really struggled against, the Rams.
Well, they have had trouble in the last few matchups against the Rams. They still hold a grudge. It was the Rams that eliminated them as a wild card team from the playoffs last year.
Anthony Thompson, the number 1 pick for the Cardinals out of Indiana, has checked in, number 34. And he gets the call. Gets a couple of yards. Thompson has not had a carry in the last 3 games before that attempt, and now he comes out of the game.
Talking to Jerry Rome just before the game, he said, with the wind blowing the way it is, we probably will not be able to throw the ball deep, but what we think we can do is establish our running game and throw some play-action passes. We'll keep an eye out on Rosenbach. They are doing a good job of running the ball and may be able to take advantage of the play-action passing opportunity.
Bills lead 14-7, 2nd and 6. Johnson gets hit, and it was Bennett from behind that got him for no gain. That'll bring up 3rd down, and Johnny Johnson nearly slipped on that delay.
What a great job of pursuit by Cornelius Bennett. We have not heard his name much today, but if you're going to run away from him, you better get him blocked. Here he comes from the top of your screen, number 97, wearing his college number. He switched numbers from last year. Look how quickly he accelerates, and Johnson, who was looking at some open turf in front of him, goes down for no gain.
3rd down and 6.
It's a blitz coming.
Rosenbach trying to get some room, and the pass is overthrown, intended for Ernie Jones. And that'll bring up 4th down. So, want to remind you that the wind is in the face of the kickers, so Rich Camarillo will come in to punt it away, apparently, for the Cardinals.
There's just no way to really get a sharp shot out of there, so even though they're in what ordinarily would be range for Al Del Greco, they bring the punter into the game. Camarillo saying, please, just let me get this ball and catch it. As you remember, he dropped the last snap.
Ron Wolfley is the short man. Just keep an eye on the man right behind the center, just in case. But it's going to be the kick.
Ball's going to be.
But it's a great kick for the Cardinals, and it goes out of bounds inside the 10. So that's exactly what the Cardinals wanted. Only 23 yards, but it's deceiving with the number. He got it inside the 20 and even inside the 10.
Where the beat goes on, you don't want to fill up. So reach for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
It's the biggest territory there is. First Interstate Bank territory. Because First Interstate has offices in more cities and states than any other bank system. So you can move anywhere across the territory and have your bank account and a warm welcome waiting for you. So open an account at First Interstate Bank and discover how nice it is to have a bank that can go the extra mile for you.
Building a safer automobile, Cadillac style. Cadillac is a world leader in safety technology with sophisticated anti-lock brakes standard on every model, plus protective safety cages and crush zones. You see, we take extraordinary care when we design your new Cadillac so that you can feel extraordinarily secure when you drive one. Another reason why the only way to travel is Cadillac style.
Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style.
It's the honeymoon of a lifetime. Audrey Meadows and Art Carney present 2 episodes not seen for 38 years.
All right.
The Honeymooners Anniversary Special, Monday at 10.
Back here at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen. 14-7, the Buffalo Bills lead, and they'll start from just inside the 10-yard line. Thurman Thomas, the running back. 2 wide receivers to the right. Thomas gets maybe a yard. Eric Hill on the stop. Well, join us here Saturday on CBS for a college football doubleheader. It starts with college football today. Andrea Joyce and Mike Francesa will bring you up to date on the bowl picture. Texas, big win over Houston. They go against TCU in the first game.
Well, if Texas wins that game, they'll have the inside track to the Cotton Bowl. They haven't been there since 1983.
And Tennessee against Ole Miss, and the winner of that game should be the Southeast Conference representative in the Sugar Bowl. A lot riding on next Saturday's college football action here on CBS. 2nd down and 9. Again, Thomas. No room to go and a loss on the play. So the Cardinals are clamping down on the Bills running right here.
Good job of penetration again by Garth Jacks as he came up the field very quickly, and Thomas was unable to get outside, and with good penetration, unable to get inside as well. This is the kind of emotional play defensively that we saw the Cardinals come up with against the New York Giants.
The Cardinals are going to use their second timeout because they're looking to get the ball back here before the end of this first half with 2:41 to go. A very fast-moving first half indeed.
AT&T, the right choice. Lydell Mitchell retired as the Colts career leader in rushing yards, but his college running mate had an even greater pro career. Who was it? Larry Zonka of the Dolphins? Franco Harris of the Steelers? Or Tony Dorsett of the Cowboys? Which would you choose?
Did you know a lot of businesses didn't get the big savings other long-distance companies promised? So they're switching back to AT&T Pro Watts, our discount calling plan. With Pro Watts, you get extremely competitive prices and automatic discounts on international and all AT&T calling card calls. What's more, Pro Watts uses your regular phone lines. With all this and AT&T quality, what are you waiting for? Competitive price, another AT&T advantage.
Although not as renowned in college, Franco Harris teamed with Mitchell at Penn State. If you said Harris, you made the right choice.
America's most successful luxury automobiles, the Cadillac, DeVille, and Fleetwood, gain new stature with a new, more powerful V8. Standard anti-lock brakes, combined with the largest interiors of any front-drive sedans. A balance of power and luxury in which neither is compromised. Another reason why the only way to travel is Cadillac style.
Cardinals have used their second timeout. 14-7 the score, and a big 3rd down play coming up because the Cardinals want to get another chance before the end of this half.
The Bills have converted 6 of 7 on their 3rd downs today. This a huge one. If they can convert on this and continue to run the football, they can eat up the clock and go in with that 7-point lead. They don't want to give the Cards a shot at a touchdown or more points here if they can help it.
And it would be touchdown, not a field goal the way this wind is blowing. 4 wide receivers for Jim Kelly out of the shotgun, and the handoff is to Thurman Thomas trying to beat the safety Tim McDonald and Lonnie Young. Lonnie Young made the play, and that'll bring up 4th down. Not a bad call.
Not a bad call at all. Very safe and secure. A conservative call. We talked to Joe Bugle, and one of the comments he made yesterday, we're going to have our safeties involved against the running game. And both safeties, Lonnie Young and Tim McDonald, were right there to help stop that play. Well, and more adventure coming in the kicking game now.
By Sakahima going back. And Rick Tootin will kick from the end zone. They're coming in trying to block the kick.
And they ran into him, but it's not enough for the 1st down.
Sakahima trying to get loose and down at midfield, but a penalty marker down. A 5-yard penalty will be marked off. They needed 7 unless it's roughing the kicker.
I don't think it'll be roughing. It'll be running into. Watch it at the end of this play. They simply could not avoid hitting him. Tootin gets the ball off, and just as it's out of there, gets the bump right there. David Braxton, the linebacker, bumps him, holds him up. You'll see him coming from the right side, number 54. He just couldn't stop in this situation. There you go.
Defense running into the kicker. That's not an automatic first down.
And they're going to decline the
Penalty
penalty.
is declined.
That's a good move.
That's interesting, but they don't want to risk trying to kick it again. They'd rather put the responsibility in the hands of their defense and against this win.
Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York, and an animated crowd here, and temperatures started in the 40s but lower because of the wind. This is Dick Stockton along with Merlin Olsen. Cardinals took the lead following a Kelly fumble early, and Johnny Johnson scored to give Phoenix a 7-0 lead after the first quarter. But the Bills have had a couple of impressive rolls. Keller with an 18-yard touchdown reception, and after a Camarillo fumble, Butch Roll caught his third touchdown pass of the year, and it's 14-7. Cardinals with one timeout left, and they'll also get the 2-minute warning. They're at the 49-yard line. Rosenbaugh up the middle, completes to Reeves, the tight end. The extra effort may give him the first down. The clock is running, and now we'll have our 2-minute warning. Pickup of 11 yards on the play. Darryl Talley made the stop, and we'll break with our 2-minute warning right here.
The power of a resource essential to all. At GTE, we provide that power. With telephone systems and services central to the life of a community, the well-being of families, the needs of every business, great or small. GTE Telephone Services, we give you the power to flourish in any environment. At GTE, the power is on.
From the Far East to Europe. Across the Caribbean and throughout North America, only one airline covers so much of the world with so much warmth.
Through Cadillac's 42 consecutive years of luxury leadership, this symbol has stood as an American automotive standard for the world in performance, comfort, and safety. Evidence of the inherent value of a Cadillac. Value that inspires the highest owner loyalty of any leading luxury automobile. Another reason why the only way to travel is Cadillac style.
That's the offensive line of the Buffalo Bills near the heater. Where else?
Those guys are big enough. They don't need heaters. They provide their own heat out there. You see a few bare arms there. Some big, big bodies.
I want to remind you that coming up shortly at halftime, Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw brings you up to date with the scores and highlights around the league.
What's that Terry was eating? A hot dog? We got to talk to him. We got to talk to that boy.
First and 10. Rosenbaugh from the 38-yard line, and then falling down is the receiver Roy Green. He was covered by J.D. Williams.
Yeah, you see a rookie over there, you like to go after him. Smith has moved over to the left-hand side again and is coming on Tootie Robbins on this play. Tootie matches him, in fact, can spot him about 25 pounds and does a fine job, although you notice that Lance Smith was there trying to help on the inside. Watch Green working on the rookie here. He'll try and drive him off, but that slick turf that we mentioned claims another victim, Dick.
Second down and 10 with 1:53 to go in the half. Pressure on Rosenbaugh. The pass is dropped by Ricky Prohl. He was hit hard as well by a couple of defenders, particularly Darryl Talley, the linebacker.
They put a lot of pressure on Bruce Smith. They say he's got to be the man to get there, but the Cardinals have done a good job of keeping him out. He had one sack early in the ball game, has put pressure on. Tootie Robbins gets a good bite on him. He almost gets Rosenbaugh's arm on that play. I think the wind killed that pass, though.
Coming in, the Bills really paid respects to the Cardinal offensive line, said maybe the best we faced all year.
Certainly did. Tom Bresnahan, the offensive line coach here in Phoenix, coached that line for a number of years.
Third down and 10. From the 38-yard line, Rosenbaugh trying to run out of danger, and he slides short of the first down. 4 yards shy. And he's down at the 32-yard line. The clock continues to run. Cardinals still have one timeout left.
Interesting decision-making time here. Still probably out of field goal range because of the wind. It's going to be 4th down.
They're going for it.
They're going to go for it. Well, you're not going to get anything out of another punt here. I think it's a good decision by Joe Bugle.
4th and 4. Three wide receivers. Hand off to Johnny Johnson, and he stopped short by a yard. And the Bills will take over on downs. It was Cornelius Bennett who made the tackle. We have less than a minute. Not a bad gamble for Joe Bugle to take, but as far as the play selection, that could be another story.
Let's watch Buffalo's defense work in short yardage situation here. About 2.5, 3 yards to go. And Johnson has done a great job of picking up that kind of yardage all year long. But he can't do it here as Buffalo's defensive linemen and linebackers flow quickly to the outside and shut it down.
Johnny Johnson with 36 yards has already surpassed his total last week against Miami. And there's Kelly. And a penalty marker down. We may have a flag against the Buffalo Bills prior to the play. No. A timeout called by the Cardinals before the snap.
Called by Phoenix before the ball was snapped.
That was exactly what you were saying, wasn't it?
That's their last timeout.
Now, every time you use the American Express card, you could win a trip anywhere, to do anything. Because American Express is giving away $10,000 dream weekends. One a day, every day, for the rest of the year. Every time you use the card, you have another chance to win. Only with the American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
And the question, Merlin, why would the Cardinals use their last timeout just in case they happen to get the ball on a turnover here?
I don't think they're worried about that. I think what they saw on the field was something they did not like. Either they did not have the right personnel on the field, they didn't like the set, something that bothered them enough to call it defensively.
First down on the 29. Thurman Thomas is out left as a wide receiver. Kelly dumps it off to Jamie Mueller, and he loses his footing.
That's something that Mueller worked hard on in the offseason to develop himself as a receiver. Last year, a lot of teams ignored him. Said, you're not going to throw to Mueller. We don't worry about him. Caught about 200 balls about 3 days a week during the offseason. Well, he catches it here, but can't do anything about that slick turf.
Second down and 12. Report on Andre Reed. He went out early with an ankle injury. It's a sprained ankle, and they've taped it in the locker room. Kelly's pass going deep to Don Beebe. And the Bills have a shot for at least 3. Jay Taylor on the stop and a gain of 48.
I talked to Scott Norwood, the kicker for these Buffalo Bills before the game. He said, I wouldn't be afraid to try one from 60 with going with the wind today. Beebe in the slot, playing for Andre Reed. He's the fastest of these Buffalo receivers, uses all of his speed right there as he gets away from Jay Taylor and gets way down the field. Well, they've gone looking for Taylor. They found him on that play.
Showing some of the depth that the Bills have at wide receiver, and Buffalo calling a timeout. It is their first timeout. They still have 2 left, but only 15 seconds left, and Andre Reed with the ankle tape back on the field for Buffalo.
He is such a fine receiver, not only able to run great patterns, but good hands, and one of the best receivers in the league after he catches the football. And I'm sure very frustrating for him to sit and watch in this game, although his mates have done a pretty good job here in the first half.
Buffalo still with 2 timeouts. Scott Norwood, with the wind at his back, could try a field goal. His longest has been 48 yards this year. They've got another play, perhaps. First down on the 24. Maybe 2.
Don't be surprised to see him go for the end zone here.
Kelly's pass, caught, touchdown. Steve Tasker.
In the hierarchy of Buffalo receivers, the last name you come to is Steve Tasker. But that's exactly who gets this football. Running in the slot to the left-hand side, and I think Kelly had him all the way. Cedric Mack, number 47, ignored Tasker for just a second. That's all Kelly needed.
And the first touchdown catch of his career, and the Bills lead it 20-7. Norwood with the extra point. It's good. Steve Tasker, who was picked up on waivers from Houston and a kick blocker, he caught a big one.
What's in is out, what's out is in. If you don't know, well, where on earth have you been? Don't try to sell me, I know what tastes good. We know while the best things always so misunderstood. Just give me what the doctor ordered. Just what the doctor ordered. Hey, give me a Dr. Pepper. We want it. Hey, Dr. Pepper. Dr. ordered. The taste the same. We love it.
That's the mark of a good team. The Bills stop Phoenix with their effort to tie the game, and they get a score on their own and lead 21-7. 11 seconds to go in the half.
And Dick, we talked about how powerfully the wind would impact this game. If you're going against the wind, you can't throw that kind of deep pass, either on the one that goes to Beebe or the one that goes in for the touchdown. You just can't throw the ball that far. With the wind trailing, they were able to get those two big plays and get it into the end zone.
And a good job by the Buffalo defense that stopped the Cardinals on 4th and 4. Norwood will kick off with 11 seconds to go in the half. So unlike those 3 games in the middle of the year when Buffalo had a rally late dramatically, their last 3 games they have taken hold early. And it's on the ground. Larry centers the rookie, and it's going to be down in the end zone for a touchback. Bills were not sure whether a Cardinal had touched it. The official moved in smartly.
Of course, in the last 2 minutes, the clock does not start until it's officially touched in the field of play. So the full 7 seconds left on the clock. But I don't know what you're going to do with 7 seconds right here.
Well, in that event, it might have been touched because 4 seconds went off the clock. So the ball did hit a Cardinal.
Well, maybe Larry Sanders got his hand on it.
Well, not much you're going to do with the win situation. Rosenbaugh with what may be the last play of this first half. Well, the Buffalo Bills, looking for their 7th straight win, have a healthy halftime lead, and that is the end of the first half here at Orchard Park. With the score, the Buffalo Bills 21 and the Phoenix Cardinals 7.
CBS sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Cadillac. Discover why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. The U.S. Navy, you and the Navy, full speed ahead. And by Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
Tots, the premium choice.
Barbecue? Summer's over. Baggett. McDonald's? Hey, McRib. Let's see. McDonald's? Chomp.
So your little brother's joining us, huh?
He's not so little anymore.
All right, now let's move it! Zero, F-15. Jeff's landing planes? 4-gear lens set.
No. $40 million jets.
Today's Navy. High-tech training that takes you only one way. Full speed ahead.
Primary's off. Good job, guys.
You and the Navy.
Jeff?
See?
He's not so little anymore.
Full speed ahead.
Since 1973, more than 6 million Americans have given up a meal for one day so that others might have the tools to grow food for a lifetime. I'm Mike Farrell. On Thursday, November 15th, join me and people all across the United States in the Fast for a World Harvest. Oxfam America, working for a world harvest. For more information, call 1-800-225-5800.
Are you over age 35? It's
Statistics show that 3 out of 4 of us have some form of periodontal disease, gum disease. In fact, we know that it's the cause of 70% of all tooth loss in adults. Be smart. Ask your dentist about the warning signs. Brush and floss daily. Eat nutritious foods and save your smile. Think about it.
Welcome back to our studios in New York, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw as we run down scores and highlights for you. We'll begin with the game being played at Soldier Field in Chicago. The Bears have just scored a touchdown and have taken a 16-3 lead on the Atlanta Falcons. Neil Anderson got the only touchdown up until just a moment ago with this 8-yard touchdown run, escaping the grass and bolting in from 8 yards out for the touchdown. And then Harbaugh to Wendell Davis.
Wendell Davis out of LSU, bump and run. Notice the little fade route. Excellent throw by Harbaugh. Beautiful catch by Davis.
Extra point was good. It is now a 17-3 Bears lead with under half a minute to play at Soldier Field. Halftime at the Superdome in New Orleans. The Saints with a 1-touchdown lead on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Craig Hayward has rushed for 93 yards in the first half, including this big one.
I want to know who's had a talk with this guy. This kid is running like crazy now. Almost 100 in the first half, 120 last week. This is a guy they thought would be the answer to the running game. Last 2 weeks, he certainly has proven that.
Chris Chandler starting for the Bucs is 4 of 6 in the first half for just 37 yards. Tampa Bay trails it by a touchdown. At the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, it is a 7-0 Minnesota lead at halftime, and Andre Ware, having his problems as the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions, has thrown 2 interceptions, including this one to Michael Brim.
Yeah, this is a poorly thrown ball. Look at all the Vikings there, intercepted by Brim. The last 2 times these teams met, Bob Galliano, the quarterback for the Lions, had 300 yards, 3 touchdowns to lead the Lions to a victory. I expect Ware to hit the bench and Galliano to come back.
Rich Gannon has the game's only touchdown from a yard out on 4th and goal with that touchdown run. And Andre Ware just 47 yards throwing in the first half. The Vikings lead it by a touchdown. At Buffalo, Jim Kelly has thrown 3 touchdown passes. The Bills lead the Phoenix Cardinals 21-7 at halftime as Buffalo looks to go 8-1 on the year. Miami and the New York Jets at halftime now. Exchange of field goals there. It's a 3-3 tie. It's a 3-3 tie at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. And now Kansas City has added another field goal now to go up 6-3 as they approached halftime at Arrowhead Stadium. And New England leads the Indianapolis Colts 10-3 at halftime. Eric Dickerson just 11 yards rushing for Indianapolis. The NFL Today continues here on CBS after this word from your local station.
A new health instructor is getting physical.
Wayne's so home.
But his workout is a real killer.
No pain, no gain. Oh, dear.
Murder, She Wrote. Then, if you've ever thought of having an affair...
I'm scared, Jimmy.
Think again. Michael Douglas, Glenn Close, Ann Archer. Fatal Attraction. Tonight. An accidental poisoning. And your toddler's life hangs in the balance.
I didn't think that I'd see her alive again.
On Rescue 911, Tuesday.
This is CBS.
Welcome back to our New York studios, everyone. This is doubleheader day here on CBS. Later this afternoon, some of you will see the Packers play the Raiders, who are sitting atop the AFC West. Most will see the unbeaten New York Giants take on the Rams in Anaheim. Earlier today, Pat Summerall and John Madden visited with Giants head coach Bill Parcells.
The inevitable question, how would you compare this team with the Super Bowl team of 1986?
Super Bowl team was much more dominant on defense. This team has more firepower on offense. It's not as restricted. We got more people that can do things. I think this team's more versatile offensively. Special teams on this team are far superior to 86. But defensively, we're not. In 86, we had 7 guys up front, and you couldn't block any of them hardly. So that's not the case right now.
Bill, how good is your team? How good is this Giant team?
Well, John, it's... it's the rabbit and the tortoise. I don't really know at this point in time. The thing I'm happy about is we won 6 division games out of our first 7, and I think they're the most important games. If we can put 2 or 3 more wins together than right now, then we're going to start giving some people some real problems. But I just think it's too early to tell. There are too many variables left. It's too early. I don't really know.
You seem to be enjoying coaching this team.
Well, they're listening well. You know, we haven't had a lot of real adversity yet, and other than one game, we've been playing from in front most of the time, and it's a little easier to coach when you're in front.
Thanks very much, Bill. It's always nice to be able to visit with a friend.
Thank you, Pat.
Terry, if there was ever a motive for revenge, the Giants have it against the Rams today.
Exactly, and good football teams do get even. There is revenge here, and I'd expect the Giants today to snap a 3-game losing streak to the Rams.
All right, Giants and the Rams coming up later for most of you here on CBS. Right now, time to send you back to the stadium in the game you're watching here on CBS.
All right, Greg, the Buffalo Bills with 21 unanswered points lead the Phoenix Cardinals at halftime here at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. 21-7 the score, and we'll be back to Rich Stadium after these messages.
Lots of men have heard about minoxidil, and lots of men have heard about Rogaine, but lots of men don't know that only Rogaine has minoxidil, and only your doctor can prescribe Rogaine. For more information, call this number now.
If you're wondering whether Rogaine is for you, call this number, and we'll give you an incentive to find out. A certificate worth $10 toward a consultation visit with your doctor. Call 1-800-556-4800.
Some people think it's a great idea for you to buy a second-rate antifreeze. Not all antifreeze is the same. Nothing beats Presto. And that's something you might appreciate down the road.
When it comes to high performance, no regular battery performs better or longer than a Duracell. You can top the copper top. No one can guarantee you a perfect world. A world where the unexpected never intrudes. But some of us know we'll be taken care of, quickly and compassionately. In an imperfect world, you're in good hands with Allstate, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
When Jim cracks up, Murphy remembers when she was down.
You were in the cab, on the plane, trying to get me off the luggage carousel in Palm Springs.
Will he recover? Murphy Brown, Monday. Tuesday, John Candy's moving in.
He's a little out there, but he's responsible. And he's family.
And he's rewriting the book on parenting. For the first time on any television, John Candy.
I've been leaving the toilet seats up.
Is Uncle Buck. Tuesday.
Is that what the blue water is? It's not good for him.
CBS sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile. See what's new from the new generation of Olds. Norelco Lift and Cut Shavers for a new level of closeness and comfort. And by America's favorite light beer, Miller Lite, the sole sponsor of the NFL Player of the Year Award.
Chicken wings, a big favorite here in the Buffalo area. So are the Bills, and the Bills have responded, leading 21-7 at halftime here at Rich Stadium. The Cardinals actually scored first. They took advantage of a turnover, and Johnny Johnson scored from a yard out. Quieted the crowd. After that, it's been all Buffalo, and they took advantage of a big fumble by the Cardinals.
They certainly did, and it happened from an unlikely source. Rich Camarillo played a lot of football up in New England, and he's very used to playing in the wind. But the winds here at Buffalo got him. Cold hands and a breeze. The ball blows right out of his hands, and Tasker is there to knock it loose. The Bills, of course, took advantage of that opportunity to punch in a go-ahead touchdown.
And actually, it's been a game totally dominated by the Bills, even when the Cardinals had their lead. They have totally dominated the yardage. The weather, of course, has been a factor throughout this game. There have been 3 turnovers already, and there have been scores on 2 of those 3 turnovers. But as we take a look at the total yardage, Buffalo really had it going from the start.
Well, they certainly did, and although the Phoenix Cardinals were able to punch in that early touchdown and take advantage of a turnover there. In fact, 2 Buffalo turnovers in the early part of this game. They have really racked up the yardage in this first half.
And Jim Kelly came into this game second to Joe Montana in completion percentage in the NFL, and what a first half he had.
He was 10 for 11 in last week in the first half. He's 8 for 10 here, and throwing in this kind of wind, those are enormous stats. Great stats. And look at the TD count. 3 TDs in the first half here in this ball game.
It has started to rain here. We had snow flurries overnight as the temperatures dropped, and now it is raining here at Rich Stadium, and the fans are putting on the parkas and the hoods as we start, which should make things even more interesting.
Dick, I think the coldest I have ever been in my life would be on a day like today, just warm enough so that it doesn't snow, and that rain will be a freezing rain. It will make things even more miserable and difficult on the field here in this second half.
The Buffalo Bills will receive, and the Cardinals will have the wind at their backs. Al Del Greco kicking off to Don Smith and Al Edwards as we're underway in the second half. And it's Don Smith back to the 5 returning. And the crowd gets a charge out of Smith, one of the better returners in the league, as he's proven today. Marcus Turner on the stop. Well, where is Jim Kelly thrown to in the passing offense today?
He has made good use of his wide receivers, 2 for 2, running backs 2 for 3. The killer, the passes to the tight ends, 1 to Butch Roll and 1 to McKellar early in this ball game.
Andre Reed out with an ankle injury, and so Don Beebe caught a big pass. And Steve Tasker the touchdown just before the end of the first half. Thurman Thomas gets good yardage off tackle, brings it out to the 35-yard line. And a penalty marker is down. Tim McDonald making the stop. See if that nullifies that gain, and it does.
Holding, number 67, offense. 10 yards, first down.
That's Kent Hull, the center.
Dick, at the beginning of this ball game, the Cardinals won the toss, elected to take the win. That threw the choice in the second half to the Buffalo Bills, who elected to take the ball. The Cardinals, of course, then chose the win. They have the win at their backs in this third quarter, and they certainly need to compensate for it. Right now, the Bills are going to have to overcome a huge penalty.
First down and 20 on the 18, and Kelly is down. And the rain, you talked about how the freezing rain, we may be having a sleet storm right now here at Orchard Park.
The wind coming off the lake, and as it comes up the hill, it compresses. And the clouds cannot lift, so they have to drop some of that moisture. And boy, I'll tell you, it is coming down almost in a thunderstorm out there right now. But as cold as it is, I think we're going to see snow here before long.
Loss of 5 yards, second down and 25. And the pitch to Thomas, Mueller blocking in front of him. And Thurman Thomas is down at about the 15-yard line by the 2 safeties, Tim McDonald and Lonnie Young. It'll be 3rd and long.
Let's think ahead just for a second. This is huge yardage. You want to just protect yourself. I don't think you'll see a high percentage pass in this next situation. That means that Buffalo is going to have to punt into that wind. And watching their punter a little bit earlier in the game, Tootin was putting the ball out about 25 yards. That's 15 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Well, we're going to find out who can play in winter weather. We've got it now.
3rd down and 23. 6 defensive backs, and they're going to run the ball to Don Smith, and he's got an opening, and Smith is short of the first down. The whistle had blown, and that'll bring up 4th down. Smith did pick up 13 before Tim McDonald stopped him.
It's starting to snow now. We may have a foot of snow on the field before the end of the quarter. This is going to be a scary punt for Tootin.
Tootin will be kicking from inside his 15. Vi Sikahima is back, and not very deep.
Look for them to come after this punt.
They can run into him, and it's only a 5-yard penalty. They may take that gamble. Line drive kick, not a bad kick. Sikahima, and he hit him. He hits Sikahima, and the Buffalo Bills recover on the 31 of the Cardinals.
Steve Tasker again with a huge special teams play, his second of the day. A streaking Steve Tasker. Watch the move right there. He elected not to touch that football, but it skipped off the top of his helmet. And very alertly, Tasker is there to pounce on that football. Now you wonder why Marv Levy keeps a Steve Tasker on this team so far in this ball game. 2 huge special teams play and a touchdown.
Don Smith is in the game. Thurman Thomas a receiver, and Thomas captured, and it's up 8 yards. Smith was lined up as a receiver. Thomas carries, and the snow all of a sudden, or rain or whatever, has stopped as quick as it has started, which is not going to hurt the Buffalo Bills at all right now. That was the second turnover, by the way, against the Cardinals.
So much for my forecasting. We may not have a foot of snow by the end of the quarter.
Well, we have a dusting, I think they call it.
Yes, we do. It's on the field. It'll make things even slicker.
2nd down and 2. Thomas, and driven back. It was Jim Waller, the first to reach him.
He lost yardage on the play. And Waller, who loves playing out of this 3-4 set, he'll do a lot of stunning, a lot of quick moving out of it. Was not comfortable as a 4-3 tackle.
Keep in mind the Cardinals lost Bob Clasby early in the year, so all of those things dictated them going to the 3-4. The fact that they had a lot of good linebackers and were thin at the defensive line spot.
Joe Bugle told us yesterday, had we known this team a little better at the beginning of the year, we would have been in a 3-4 in training camp. We wouldn't have waited until into the season to make the change.
3rd down and 4. Kelly, short drop, pass, dropped by Thomas, and he was covered downfield by Garth Jacks.
Was that ball touched at the line? It looked like it may have been tapped, or maybe it's just the wind, which, although the snow has abated, the wind has not. Kelly, who hasn't missed many today, slightly off target with that one.
Look at that. With the wind, 7 for 8 and 3 touchdowns. Against the wind, 1 for 3 and 1 interception. So keep in mind that the Bills are going to have the wind in the 4th quarter in their favor. It'll be 4th down and 4.
They're not even thinking field goal here.
Or punt. Cardinals went for it on 4th and 4 at the end of the half. This pass is caught for the first down.
And the ball is dropped
and
again.
It's picked up by McDonald. And let's see if it's Cardinal ball. Apparently it is. It is Cardinal ball. Don Beebe caught the ball, and it is dropped and picked off by McDonald. So another turnover, and the Cardinals escaped that one, and McDonald's shaken up a bit.
You know, the celebrity business isn't all it's cracked up to be. Sure, I get to travel all over the country, but I'd rather just hang out and have a Miller Lite with the guys. Having another round of lights? Me and the boys don't want some watered-down version of a regular beer. Hey, thanks. We want the less filling beer that really tastes great. Right, guys? Hey, anybody for a game of pool? All right, well, let's go.
Get the picture? When it's Miller Lite, less filling tastes great.
Your break, Dad? A little room, boys.
Did you ever think you'd see the day when a car could actually call you if it's being stolen? With Toronado's Visual Information Center and mobile phone, next time it's 11 o'clock, you know where your car is.
This is a new generation of Lowe's.
It started with close and comfortable. Now the new Norelco razor brings you even closer with the same legendary comfort. To reach this new level of shaving perfection, our patented lift and cut system has been improved to lift each hair and cut it even closer without the blades touching your skin. So you get an even closer shave with the same incredible comfort. The new Norelco. It's more than a great